Welcome to another episode of You Good Bro with myself, Jam. No JD this week. However, I've got another special guest, my own therapist, Kirsty. Kirsty, thanks for joining us today.
It's lovely to be here.
Good. Well, it's lovely to be here where
Technically
we
in our
normally,
room, yeah.
exactly where we actually have our therapy session.
Yeah.
So it is a bit bizarre having everything here.
I know.
But here we are, and we're talking about something very important, very topical today. It's one of, I guess, kind of the buzzwords of, this generation, the manosphere.
Yeah.
But before we get into that, as JD will tell me off if I don't do this, I have to ask you one question. Are you good, bro?
Yes, I'm okay, thank you.
Good.
Do I need to ask it back?
Can if you want.
You good, bro?
I'm good. I'm very good. I'm feeling, the sun's been out today, so I think it helps everything,
it's been
doesn't
beautiful, isn't it?
Yeah, so I think that always helps when I'm driving around at work and stuff and the sun's out, and I've got my sunglasses on now. Got the shades out for the first time in how long. So, yeah, all good. Bit weirded out about the Manosphere thing though, because I rewatched the documentary we're going to be talking about. I'm sure everyone's heard of it.
Yeah.
Louis Theroux Inside the Manosphere. And I've been watching Louis Theroux for, God, since he was on Weird Weekends back in the late 90s. So when he first kind of started out. And now, I commented last night when I was watching it, I was like, it's so cinematically shot now compared to his earlier stuff, which was just literally just point and shoot. Now every shot is thought out and it's really cinematic. So you've kind of seen, it's like when you watch a PS1 game and then a PS5 game and you see the difference in sort of quality, but it's the same old Louis, innit? Same old Louis.
Yeah.
But what is the Manosphere? Because some people don't know quite what it is. What is the Manosphere? Is a collection of mainly online misogynistic communities, forums, things like that, people promoting anti-feminist views and what they call extreme masculinity and male supremacy. Sounds like something from the 40s or 50s, doesn't it? Mm-hmm. But it's coming back again, unfortunately, but in a pretty more extreme way. And I think they kind of, some of them dress it up as making, how to teach men how to be men and make money and shag women and etc. Excuse my French. But yeah, that's kind of what they're all about, unfortunately, and it's something that is growing and is rising, especially with platforms like TikTok and Instagram. You watched the documentary yourself, haven't you, as well?
Yes, I have, twice. So we've both done it.
So first of all, I'll ask you, I guess, kind of what are your general thoughts on it? We'll dig in, but initially, what are your general thoughts?
Well, it was a lot to watch, first of all. And I think being a therapist is one thing because you can view it from a different angle at times and go, okay, well, this is the facade. Mm-hmm. Could you call it a facade? Is this what they're actually like as people naturally, or is this what they're just showing on social media? Mm-hmm. But then also being a woman as well. Yeah. So there's that aspect. So obviously we're here to talk about, the therapist side of me. Yeah. But I think it was very hard watching as a woman the influence that these men have on social media. Yeah.
Well, we're going there because obviously as a therapist, I remember you saying, I'm pretty certain you were saying at the live show as well, how the amount of men that you speak to now as a therapist just shot up recently.
Yes.
So do you think that some of this could be undoing that work almost that people like yourself are doing?
Yeah. I really hope not. But I've been, it's an absolute privilege to be a therapist. And like I said to you, there's been an influx of male clients recently, which is fantastic because I'm sure we all know there's this typical thing of don't show emotions. Mm-hmm. You got to man up. You just got to get on with it. Yeah. When in reality, that's not the way to be, preferably. Mm-hmm. And so, it has been wonderful to kind of open the box of, it's okay to feel emotions, but let's go deeper.
Yeah.
And so watching this documentary and seeing the much younger generation thinking that these guys are incredible and they're their inspiration and, hounding them on streets and stuff. It does make you worry about the future.
Well, that is mad, isn't it? Because saying before, we were saying off mic, one of the guys in this documentary, Sneeko, the way he was approached on the street, you would think it was Prince reincarnated.
Yeah.
Like the way they rushed over, like selfies. And I get that we're living in a world now where, you know, it's quite easy in a way to get to that status if you've got an online presence, if you're doing content as a kid, and that word goes through me, but content, not doing content. It absolutely got, I know we're doing content now, but it goes through me, that word. But anyway, I'll put that to the side. You know, we are living in an age where you say something kind of controversial enough, or you become enough of a character online, that's how you get treated. Like, I remember Angry Ginge, you know, the gamer, Angry Ginge, have you ever heard of him? Oh, well, he's big. He's big. I didn't know much about him, to be fair, because I'm not a gamer, but he's big in the gaming world.
Okay.
Anyway, I went down to a charity match a couple of years ago, and he was the biggest draw. And you had, like, you know, rappers, singers, and he was the biggest draw. He was the one that when he walked through, everyone just pelted to the front and got their phones out. It was him. And he's, you know, a gamer. I mean, he does a lot more now. Now that he's kind of broke through to that level, he does a lot more. But point being is that these guys, it's a lot easier nowadays for these guys to get that status, which is scary because the way these kids were kind of surrounding him, you just think, bloody hell, they're treating him as if he's like the Messiah and he's, you know, been resurrected. You know, it's very bizarre. But yeah, so that's one kind of side of it, the kind of scope that they've got and the reach that they've got. You know, but when it comes to, like, for example, because we'll start off talking about the documentary in particular and then, you know, move on to the bigger picture. But when it comes to that, you know, like HS Tiki or Harrison Sullivan is his real name. You know, the way he kind of dresses it up in my eyes is, here's some plans. I'm going to make you a better man. Pay me 15 quid a month or whatever it is, or probably more than that. And I'll show you how to be a better man, to earn loads of money, live in a nice big house in Ibiza. You know, is he just dressing it up as that? Do you think that maybe it's performative and he's just doing that to get that money? Or do you think it's a bit deeper within him?
Well, what is a better man? That would be my question. Because that's coming from him, his own personal, you know, beliefs, values. So I would say, first of all, what's being a better man? That's questioning how he views masculinity as well. So I do think part of it, how do you increase your social media, you know, to people to follow you? It's doing controversial things. So I would so hope that it's part of the performative side, like you were saying. But you never know because that's all you get to see.
Yeah, but also, I guess, does it matter? Because even if it is performative, it's still doing damage.
It's still doing damage, and it's still out there in the open where everyone can see.
Yeah, exactly.
And that's damaging.
And it's easy for people to see this stuff. It's on TikTok, it's on, you know, I must say, this is going to be controversial, stay with me because the first sentence is going to shock you, but then you'll understand why. I used to follow Andrew Tate on TikTok, obviously. However, before I get jumped on and cancelled, it was when he was doing all the fitness stuff. So it's before he started coming out with all this, you know, hatred for women and all the rest of it. It's when he was focused on fitness. He's like, you know, he's a kickboxing world champion or something. So it was kind of back when he was talking about that. And his sort of attitude was, you know, if you're not happy with yourself, get to the gym. Just go. No excuse to get to the gym. And I liked that. I like the sort of, you know, get up and go thing. But then it slowly turned into what he ended up being known for. Then I unfollowed him. I might add at that point. But that's kind of going back to what I'm saying. Like, is it that he was getting successful in the fitness way, but maybe he wanted to kind of go over a bit more and get, you know, some more followers? Does it then end up just being, right, I'm just going to hammer everything up, you know? But again, it's just as dangerous regardless, isn't it?
Regardless of what's being said.
Yeah, so another couple of things that was kind of spoken about on it was like one-sided monogamy, which is just baffling to me in terms of, now, in a purely facetious way, every man, I'm pretty certain, no, I'm not joking, no, it's not very, no, it's not good. But no, one-sided monogamy, you know, just what is that teaching to the younger men of the world, you know, that essentially these guys are saying, well, I can do whatever I want. I can go out and, you know, do whatever, flirt with girls, do more than that over girls, and you've got to stay home. And you can't do that. What kind of message is that sending out to the young ones?
Well, I mean, there was there was one sentence that I clearly remember, and it was like, I know women better than they know themselves.
Mr. Myron Gaines.
And that naturally as a woman goes, okay, but why? How do you know that?
Yeah.
Prove to me why you know that. And I think that was quite a lot of this whole situation was, okay, why? Where have you got this from? Where are those thoughts from? So one-sided monogamy, I mean, I do couples therapy as well. So I think everyone, can view relationships how they want to. There could be people that like to do that, but then the reality of this should be the way, or we can do whatever we want. That in itself is teaching the younger generation things that
that they shouldn't really.
That they shouldn't. It's more respect for the other sex that came across.
It
was a lack of respect.
And then, I mean, on that note as well, when HS was sort of, well, two things. When he had the video of him, doing stuff with a woman in a toilet. And then saying, oh, well, kind of like, it was just so flippant and kind of nonchalant. It was so
normalised,
it was just kind of like, oh, yeah, that happened. Yeah, great. And he was literally showing Louis as if it was a badge of honour.
Yeah.
And I think that kind of stuff as well. Again, it's the respect side of it. And I think, but then comes the sort of double standards of it all, isn't it?
Yeah.
Where it's like, well, if his daughter was doing things like that, he'd disown it. If his daughter was on OnlyFans, he'd disown it. If his son was gay, he'd disown him.
Yeah.
Double standards all around, I think.
Yeah. Well, completely. And it was how passionate he got about, oh, if my daughter did that, I'd disown her. Like, it was very passionate. And that's when Louis Theroux was like, well, how can you say that when you actually got an agency regarding OnlyFans?
Yeah.
So it's
what did he say as well? What made me laugh is when he was HS was with that model and they were doing like a collab sort of thing, and then Louis just throws it in and goes, do you know that he thinks that what you're doing is disgusting? And he's just kind of sat in the back just like kind of thing, and it's like, well, like put him to challenge there.
Yeah. But was she not surprised? I think she was like, oh,
I don't think she cared. I think, like we were saying before, I think for a lot of the people on OnlyFans, I don't have an issue with OnlyFans as a thing, meaning that, all right, strip clubs and things have been around since the beginning of time.
Yeah.
And it's like, although I, it's not my type of establishment, I'll just say that, if people are making money off it, whatever, as long as you're not harming people.
Exactly.
In the main, then I think, okay, you're making money off it, whatever. You kind of see that as a power, like you're using yourself. So I will never judge anybody for doing that, like ever, because I'm not being funny. If you are in your room and you make a video and you put it online and someone wants to pay you like $300 for it, yeah, well, more the fool, you know what I mean? So, but, I think a lot of people in that realm, like with the Fresh and Fit podcast, it's kind of like, well, they're kind of using it just to get their name out there. So even if they're sat there being berated on this podcast,
it was disgusting.
They're not bothered because it's like, oh, well, I've got my name out there and people are going to Google me or whatever. So like, what are your opinions on that in terms of how these women were treated on this podcast? Because it was abhorrent.
Oh, it was disgusting. But the actual, from where I was sat, I was like, why is nobody saying anything? Why is none of the women going, how dare you speak to a woman like that? Let's just all leave. Let's all just go.
And it sort of feels like, again, everyone's kind of in it for their own thing. And, there was that kind of sisterhood was just not there at all. And then when the woman who was, one of the women who worked there was talking to Louis, she got the text message saying...
She was like, I can't talk anymore, didn't she?
Easy. That is literally like, you think of that as like, I don't know, man, almost like human trafficking, it feels like, where you just got
it's controlling
women there and, and how, I don't think they're together. I think it said at the very end that Myron and his girlfriend aren't together anymore. But that was when I looked at her, I just thought, I never like to say this about people like, you're broken. But you do think she must have been through some stuff, man. For her to readily accept that and kind of be like, oh yeah, we'll see what happens. If he decides he wants 2 wives, 3 wives, we'll see what happens. It was so like, I don't know, like I can't imagine ever having that response to me.
No.
you know. So.
Yeah, it was, in a way, watching it was quite sad. Because everyone's allowed to feel and, you know, have opinions or be like, yeah, it's fine if my partner goes and cheats on me with other women. That's fine. But it was there like, where's the empowerment of women?
Yeah.
Where's your voice? And it just was just not there.
And I could see Louis trying to cut through and trying to... But
well, he was influential, wasn't he?
Yeah, he's literally stood next to her, so she's obviously thinking, well, I can't say this, I can't say that.
Yeah.
It's just crazy. It's so controlling. It is abuse.
Yeah.
You know, it is abuse at the end of the day.
But it's how normalised it is.
Yeah, that's the scary thing.
That's the scary thing.
That is the scary thing. And I think, again, the fact that so many people are just doing this, and there's no shame about it. There's no shame. It's just like, well, yeah, that's what I think. And that's, a lot of them are trying to dress it up as traditional. And that's kind of like the traditional way to be. Man does this, woman does that. And it's just like, you know, it's 2026 at the end of the day. And it was never right, and it isn't right now. So, but when you talk about the manosphere, just in case people don't quite know what it is, because not everybody does, you know, what is the manosphere? Like, to you, when you hear the word manosphere, what comes into your head? What do you think?
I'm just thinking about that documentary and those men disrespecting women.
Yeah.
That to me, as well as trying to think as well, where have these influences come from, and why are they behaving that way? Because it was so normalized. It was like, oh yeah, it's fine to behave like that. But where does that belief come from that it's fine to be like that? There was even that fight scene, wasn't there? And that was just like, oh yeah, it happened.
Yeah, no, that was that one where they said it was a paedophile or something. And that one, and then just kind of drawn him in and then filled him in, essentially. Yeah, and you just think, and controversially, I, to a degree, don't mind vigilante justice, but that was ridiculous. And I do not condone that in the slightest. When I say vigilante justice, I mean taking a stand, and but I don't mean filling somebody in. That's absolutely ridiculous. And yeah, I don't understand. And they said he deleted it and he didn't, did he? They ended up clipping it up because obviously it's going to get views.
Yeah.
And you just think, again, going back to the performative thing, is it just this ploy to sort of get views and get subscribers? Because people are paying ridiculous. I mean, look at the house he's got in Ibiza, like.
Well, he's influential, isn't he? But that's the problem. It's not only, you know, regarding making money. It's also who he is.
Yeah.
He does all of his fitness thing, doesn't he? So he's showing like his body.
Yeah. It's like that's the kind of in.
Yeah.
And then it's like, right, well, while you're here, I'll tell you about all this other stuff.
This is what I think. And
and then the more controversial, again, the more kind of views it gets, which is unfortunate because really they should be pushing stuff like "you good, bro," but instead they're pushing stuff like that.
Exactly.
So, but why did that men are drawn in? Because I think, you know, there's got to be a reason why all these young lads, and not all young, there are, you know, some grown men doing this. Because what got me is when Louis goes to the house the first time and there's those two lads who are there. And one of them was like, oh yeah, I won a competition. And like
the Range Rover.
Yeah. And it's like, okay, and that's why you're here, because like you literally worship this guy. And another guy was like, oh, I was a fan that was picked by him to be flown over. And I was thinking, who this guy think he is? But why is it that you think that these men and young lads are turning to this?
I feel like social media is so influential. And particularly with the younger generation, like, look at adolescents, you know, last year, that not the documentary, the series. And, but yeah, social media is so influential, and you don't actually know what youngsters are actually watching nowadays, which is a scary thing. So, and things get spread on people's stories, don't they? So they've obviously seen this guy and gone, oh, he looks fit in the sense of, you know, he's exercising, he's getting money in, he's got a glamorous lifestyle. Let's follow him. And that's influencing. And then it escalates, doesn't it?
Well, the thing is, like, why can't that exist without the other? Like, why can't it be like, you know, let's get not just men, but let's get everyone fit and let's get. There's nothing bad about that. Let's talk about how to make money. Let's do all that, but then leave out all the disrespectful stuff. Surely that's possible. You know. But,
well, it should be possible, shouldn't it? It should be possible. And we could talk about how we should be spoken about how to make money and taxes and all of that kind of stuff, which should be totally normalized. But the reality is that what is actually being shown on social media, just with these guys, is a lot of negative stuff about women and what also men should be. So what is masculinity? Is it about making money and being fit? Because that's all good, but it's the way that it was just so disrespectful to women. It's almost normalized.
It's almost as if they need that, or feel that they need that extra dimension, because let's face it, the fitness world in general is quite diluted. There's a new PT following me every week. I don't know what they're trying to tell me, but there's a new PT following me every week, and it's like, maybe it's a bit diluted, so they feel they want another dimension. I don't know. I mean, I think like HS started out just doing, I can't use that word again, I'm already cringing, started off doing content with that Ed Matthews guy who, I'm not being funny, has nothing between the ears. I'm just going to put that out there. I don't even care who comes back at that. He has nothing between the ears. I think people sort of started out as like, but it's flirting with girls and just like filming themselves flirting with girls. I don't know. I don't want to say that's harmless, because it all depends on intent and stuff. And obviously, if they're filming it, then that's a total intrusion of privacy. So that's ridiculous. But it started off as that, and then it was kind of like almost like, veered in. It's got more and more extreme, I think. But I think, when it comes to the guys that are following this stuff and paying their hard-earned money for them to send plans or whatever, do you think it's loneliness? Do you think it's lack of purpose? Like what kind of root sort of reason do you reckon these guys are following this for?
I think we all get influenced by the people around us. And I don't mean like bad influence. I mean in the sense of, say, if you've got like a fatherly figure, or friends or people that enhance how you feel about yourself and give you self-worth and all that kind of stuff. Some people don't actually have that. And so, they can see these people on social media and go, oh my God, this person has it all. This is who I'd like to be. And so that to me is going, no, you are enough. You don't need to follow somebody else to become like them, because you are great as you are. You just need to find that personally. Does that make sense? So it's like this lack of self-worth and feeling that, oh, they're better than me. If I can be more like them, then I'll be all good.
Again, like you say, is that social media sort of, I think it was last week or the week before, I did an episode about kind of, people kind of having like a social media sort of profile in a way where it's like, okay, that's how I'm going to be on social media. And you some people start to sort of mold their life around that. Or will that make good content? I don't know why the word goes through me so much. It just does.
I think we need to talk about it in therapy.
I think we do, because it's true. I just what is it? It's the kind of people that use the term, and that's what goes through me all the time. But anyway, I'll try and park that now. It's on my head. But like, so people end up doing it, and I think that, like you say, when people like HS, who has this online persona, but then again, they brought his mum into it, and initially I was like, oh, his mum clearly doesn't agree with what he's doing. Isn't challenging on it really, but I get it. It's her son. She's probably living off some of the money he's making and that kind of thing. And I'm fine. I'm never going to begrudge someone of that and whatever. But then she started to turn on Louis a bit towards the end, and I was like, oh, Mum, no, I think you were almost the voice of reason. And it was like, but again, I don't know. I mean, she clearly doesn't agree with what he's doing, but I guess just never turn her back on her son, I imagine. But to me, that was a bit disappointing.
It was disappointing. I mean, did you see the bit, I think it was beforehand, were they rolling the cameras before Louis came through? And did she say, I don't want to put word because this might be totally wrong, but is it something like, now don't embarrass me, or they had to clean the floor and stuff?
She said, I didn't raise you like that.
Yeah.
I'm thinking, well.
And so in a way you think, I think he was like, sorry, Mummy, or something like that. And it was one of those where it's like, okay, you can tell in a way, this might be him trying to respect her, but then I'm also going, is there some sort of fear there? But then, obviously trying to analyze a relationship between mum and son, everyone's different, but you would like to think if your child or even friend, family member, acquaintance is talking, can I swear?
Absolutely.
Shit.
It's a routines pod.
Is talking shit about someone and is disrespecting people, you would go, that's not right. You need to apologize for your words, take responsibility.
And really happening.
Yeah, and change.
Like, even when it came to Louis sort of challenging him, she was just like, nah, about his criminal,
Oh, yes, yeah.
And then, she kind of comes in and totally defends him. And I get it, it's her son, but, if that was my son, I think I'd be like, hold on a minute, don't speak to Louis like that. Well, that's, calm it down a bit. But then she ended up kind of joining in and kind of, going on Louis. And I sort of felt sorry for Louis at that point. I was like, just getting ganged up on it.
But then it's like what we were saying earlier about being influenced by the people that are closest to us.
Yeah.
So if she is naturally not going to stand up, again, we don't know the backstory of that relationship.
Yeah.
But from the, watching it, if she is not going to take a stand and go, that's not right, be kinder, don't disrespect people, etc., etc. These natural core beliefs that you think everyone would have.
Yeah, well, yeah. Right thinking.
Yeah.
I always say.
Yeah. But it was, I think quite a lot of it was sad to watch.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, as a therapist, you obviously speak to a lot of people day in, day out, and you do couples, like you say. How often would you say, obviously not naming names clearly, how often would you say you get a couple where the guy is kind of like that in a way? Not saying as extreme as that, but even elements of it. Would you say it's quite often or not? No.
Thank goodness. Thank goodness. And if they were like that, that is where you would hope a therapist, well, I would, I'd challenge that.
Yeah.
Because, I like to think in a therapy room, everyone is pretty much on equal ground. Sometimes it can feel like, oh, the therapist is there and then you're here. Do you know what I mean? And I always like to think, no, let's kind of try and create a more equal ground. And if someone is speaking to someone like crap, I will happily say, we don't do that in here.
Absolutely.
That behavior needs to change. And actually, if people can be aware of that behavior and go, I'm so sorry, and take ownership of it, then that in itself is empowering. But if they can't, then some more work needs to be done.
Well, I guess at that point they've actually bit the bullet, as I say, and come to therapy. So actually, imagine at that point the way of thinking. Well, even if it was like that at one point, I guess at that point, I mean, if someone's coming to therapy and they're clearly willing to change, or not necessarily change, but look within themselves. So I guess at that point,
that can be the hardest thing. Obviously, I don't know how you felt, and obviously it's very personal for anyone that reaches out. But I always say to my clients, I'm always like, thank you so much for reaching out, because I truly think that's the biggest step to do, to actually go, I need to put myself first. I need to reach out. And it's petrifying when there's so many faces and you're going, who do I choose? You know.
Absolutely.
Absolutely.
So do you think that some men use the manosphere as an excuse to not work on themselves, to not be vulnerable because they don't really want to be? They'll either look at these guys and think, all right, yeah, that's me, and it's okay to be like that, so I'll just be like that, and I'll not bother actually get to the root of whatever issue they've got.
I think that sometimes can be the easiest option because those guys look like they've had it all. They've got it all. But then I would say, sometimes do people know actually how to help themselves? Because that's the hardest thing. The being vulnerable and reaching out and going, I don't feel okay. And so, yes, people can go, yeah, that's the way to live. That is the way to be. Or they can go, I need to reach out and speak to someone.
Which is what I did. And I was never going to join the manosphere, by the way. I was that way inclined. But it is that kind of thing where you say, okay, you get to a point where you think, okay, I need the help.
Yeah.
And I guess what I would say to anybody, given my own experience, is just reach out. Just reach out. There's no, long-term commitment. There's no right, once you're locked in, that's it. You've got to go for 2 years. Well, no, I mean, I did, and I do, but it's not, you don't have to. It's just a case of trying it. And then look, horses for courses, isn't it, at the end of the day? But then through trying therapy, you might find something else that actually helps you a bit more, or you might. So what I would say to people is jump in with that way. Don't be watching these pillocks online.
No.
And then going down that road, because it's not a very good road to go down, and it's not probably
it's a lonely road.
And it's a lonely road, yes. Yeah, because these guys don't care about their clients, as they call them, in terms of not therapists, I mean the people in the Manosphere.
Yeah.
Don't care about their clients and people that are paying them for these, for this life handbook.
Yeah. But it looks great, doesn't it?
Yeah. Well, that's
but then in reality, who are their friends? Who are their support system? Why are they doing this? And that goes back into this kind of, well, it may look like they've got everything, but they're probably one of the loneliest people you will ever meet.
Yeah, because in that world, everyone's trying to one-up each other. Everyone's trying to get to the top. So, and they'll do it. The kind of people that are doing it, I think they'll do anything to kind of jump. Like the fans we spoke about, who kind of like, oh yeah, I finally picked me to come out. But then if that person gets bigger and bigger doing what they're doing, then they're going to want to jump. And so it's a really, really toxic environment, and not worth getting involved in.
It needs to be broken. Yes. And talking about it.
Yeah, absolutely.
Is, I think, the way forward, rather than, oh, that was horrific, because it was horrible to watch. But if people can learn from it and not be like that.
Yes, exactly. And if you are ready to jump in, Kirsty is one of many therapists.
Yeah.
Obviously, depending on where you are, as JD always says, we've got listeners in like 30 odd countries. So wherever you are, definitely have a look. But where can people find you? If you're, we do video as well, don't you?
Yeah.
Yeah.
So video, telephone,
Manchester telephone. So where can people find you? Face to face. Which I always think that's the best myself. Yeah. Personally, but yes, where can people find you?
So you can Google me. It's Kirsty Marshall. And then there are actually websites online that's full directory listings of different counsellors. So it depends whether you want to seek out a counsellor for other things.
Yeah.
But yeah, you can find me on there.
Well, I was going to ask you, so what do you specialise in? I already know this, but I'm just, for the listeners, what do you specialise in?
So I was trained in what you call person-centered therapy, which is big, and that might sound, but what it does, it's mainly concentrating on the person. Yeah. But I bring different things to that. So that can be whether providing a supportive space, but also challenging that client. It brings about an awareness, and it makes you grow, which I think therapy should always be about. But again, it depends what you personally are seeking.
Yes. Yeah.
And I think most people are seeking growth and learning about themselves and wanting to, I don't want to say better yourself. But if you can find a space where you don't feel judged, don't feel, feel heard, feel like your voice is important, then that's the best place. Everyone should feel like that.
Well, thank you very much for joining me today. It is a tough subject, so thank you for discussing it with me and the listeners. If you've got anything to say, listeners/watchers, because we are video now as well, then do either comment on Spotify, you can comment directly, or YouTube. We started going on YouTube now.
It's fantastic.
A ball ache to upload, but we started going on YouTube now. So comment on that. If you're watching a clip on our Instagram, comment on that. DM us if you've got any thoughts, any feelings, any experiences. And yeah, thank you for watching and listening again. And well, you can do this week. So at the end, JD always says peace. So you can do this. So thanks for listening to You Good Bro, and we'll see you again next week.
Peace.